Okay. I did put a quick post up just saying that I was going to be going live in here just to see if you guys had any questions, but I didn't give a ton of time. So if you do think of any questions and I don't address them or you haven't seen them in the posts that I've put up over the last couple of days, then feel free to drop them in the comments. I am here to answer any of the questions that you have, help you kind of wrap your head around it. I am super analytical. So I know before I became a coach, I was like big on, well, not before. I'm still big on pros and cons list, but I remember sitting down and doing like a pros and cons list of like, what are the pros of actually doing this business? What are the cons? And I sat down and I like compared them and I analyzed it all. So if you need to kind of do that or you have any questions, I guarantee if I didn't have those same kinds of questions or hesitations, I bet somebody that has, become part of our team has also had those kinds of questions. So no, there's no question that's too silly or that you need to feel uncomfortable about. Because I think the other thing too is that we'll often sit there and we'll have these questions and we'll let these kind of doubts be the thing that makes us say, yeah, I don't know, I just don't think this is right for me. And we'll talk ourselves out of it before we even actually vocalize what our hesitations or our doubts are. So I don't want you to get stuck there. I want you to work through it. I want you to talk through it because yes, this coaching thing is totally different. I mean, I feel like over the last couple of years that network marketing has gotten a lot more known, popular, that kind of thing. I know I had absolutely no knowledge or no background in network marketing. I didn't really, other than thinking about, companies like Avon or Tupperware, I'd never really thought about the business model before I actually became a coach. And then I was like, okay, I'm doing this thing and I'm going to learn more about this business model. And I was actually really impressed, I will tell you from a business standpoint, about how the business model worked. Because you have to remember, I was coming into this business as a full-time realtor. So for me, it wasn't a big stretch. So the way the real estate, world kind of works is you typically have a broker or a brokerage that you are under, and you can get your broker's license and you can become a broker and that kind of thing. But typically people start as salespeople. So they're under the umbrella of the broker. Now, here's the thing of how this works with real estate. I'm just going to give you a quick little real estate lesson here. So when I would sell a house, when I first started, I had what they called a 60-40 split. So my percentage of the commission, I would get to keep 60% of that, and 40% of that would actually go to my broker. So I was like, okay, like I'm familiar with this model. That's just how I had known it to be. So when I kind of came into network marketing, I was like, okay, so this is actually way better because I'm not actually paying my upline, because that's going to be the sponsor coach that you sign up above, right? What's happening is if my sponsor coach is not helping people and building a business themselves, they're actually not going to benefit off of me. So you can have somebody that's above you that you can actually out earn. You can have, like when I sell something, my coach isn't getting a portion of that commission. So it's actually it's much better that way. And that kind of got me interested in how that model works. And I was like, this is actually a really smart business model to actually use. And that's why a lot of companies with really great products, that's what I thought, like I was saying, those Avon, Tupperware, maybe you have like Epicure, I'm trying to think, Rodan and Fields, like there's a lot of really great companies that have adopted that business model because people realized and this is how Beachbody actually started, was they used to have these message boards, right? They were kind of an infomercial commercial, and they sold fitness programs. So P90X was the original. And what would happen is people would start these message boards on the internet, and P90X was really hard. And a lot of people didn't finish it because it was a 90-day program, really long workouts, and it was unlike anything that had been out there before. But they started these message boards, and people started to cheer each other on, and they started to talk to each other, and they started to be like, oh, I remember that workout, it was really hard, like you can do it, like this is what's coming up next, or here's what I did that helped it. And Beachbody CEO actually quickly noticed that the people who were actually part of these message boards were the people that were actually finishing the program and getting results. And that was kind of how this whole coach model actually came to be. They were like, our products and our fitness programs aren't actually beneficial unless they're getting people results. Well, what's the best way to get people results? They need somebody that's holding them accountable, right? So that's how they developed this system of having coaches. And that's how, like this business model evolved to what it is today. So I know I've told you guys a little bit about my story. It's been 7 years since I actually started this, and I started this, really it was for my own accountability. I was interested in staying committed for once to the goal that I had set to myself to actually be a healthy mom. That was what I wanted to be. I didn't want to be the tired mom. I didn't want to go to the park and not play with my kids. I didn't want to go, not be able to go camping and fishing and kayaking and all those things. I wanted to be able to do those things. I wanted to be strong enough for that. I wanted to live like a long and healthy life as much as I could, help myself that way. I come from a family with a lot of lifestyle and genetic illnesses, right? And I could see that kind of happening. And I just turned 30 and I was like, this can't be as good as it gets. Right? So I came in really for the fitness, but what kept me around was within that first month, even though I was really honestly skeptical about joining a challenge group or an accountability group, I did join one. And I was blown away that there were women that were super busy, like busier than me. They had more kids than me, or they had, an extra job, or they whatever. Because I was at like the busiest I'd ever been in my life. Tiny kids, full-time real estate, shift working husband, like not a minute to breathe. And they were busier than me and they were still getting it done. And they were checking into this group and we were cheering each other on. And I found all of a sudden I had this community, this network of people that I wanted to show up for. And that made me show up more than I would have just shown up on my own, because I had proven to myself time and time again, I wasn't sticking, to it. No matter how noble my reasons for doing it were, like I wanted to be stronger for my kids, I wanted to be healthier, those kinds of things. I just wasn't staying accountable. And I wasn't staying committed. So I love this line that coaches don't quit. And they don't. Coaches don't quit on their health and wellness. They, we might fall, we might have dips, and of course we are going to have ups and downs. But it really is like the ultimate accountability. So I just kind of wanted to mention that. I know that one of the things that Erin, thank you so much for commenting on that post that I put up, said she was nervous about coaching was because she didn't have a lot of people in her network, her community, that kind of thing, that are actually interested in health and fitness. So she's worried, what if I won't have any clients, or, I'll start to do this and I'll fail because nobody wants to do this with me. First of all, I just want to say, I think most of us are afraid of that at the beginning. I do think that's like a legitimate fear. I think when we're going to do something new, we immediately think, what if I suck at it, or I'm not good at it, or I fail, or whatever, right? And immediately we start to think of reasons why we might not be great at it. And I know I've shared this before, but when I started, I didn't have an Instagram account. I barely came on Facebook. And I shared a Facebook with my husband. It was actually funny. For the longest time, we were Lindsay and Christopher Fortney. I didn't even have my own account. And I would just kind of go on and be like judgy. My Pinterest, I was really into Pinterest. I still really love Pinterest, but I would go on Pinterest and I would look, and if there was anything healthy food or healthy recipes or fitness, I would scroll right by it, because I was like, no, I don't even want to hear it. I just was not at a point in my life where I was ready to kind of receive that information. I basically wasn't sick and tired of being sick and tired yet. So I was really against all of that. So fast forward though, right? I get to this point in my life where we go to Disney. We pay extra to get pictures taken at at all the parks, like $200 American, I think, extra to get these pictures taken. And we're going back to the hotel at night, and I'm looking at these pictures with my toddler and preschooler, and I'm delete. These are pictures that I paid all this money for in Disney, and I am deleting them all because I hate the way I look in them. And it hit me that I was deleting my kids' memories, it was like I was deleting all the evidence of this incredible trip just because I hated the way I looked on the camera. And I was like, ew, that's not okay. I don't want that. I want my kids to be able to look back at pictures and be able to be like, there's mommy. They don't care what size we are. And I'm not going to go down that whole thing of we shouldn't care either. But it just was the thing I needed to be like, no, Lindsay, you do want to change. You staying the same is harder right now than committing to change. So that was how I started to jump into Beachbody, right? But not everybody got to that point at the same point I did. My family, for example, was not at that point. It took me years literally to sign up my sister. First, she signed up once, she quit. She signed up another time, she quit. At the beginning of the pandemic, she finally came to me and she was like, she was at that point I had been at. And she said, I want to do this. I want to make this a lifestyle. And she has been she's had a phenomenal transformation. She had a serious glow up during the pandemic. And it was just so incredibly inspiring, motivating, incredible to watch. But that was like 4.5 years into this coaching business for me. Imagine if I took all those times she wasn't ready personally, right? Because she wasn't ready. We get to be we have the tools, and our job is actually to connect people with the tools and help them get to where they want to go. And that's not just their health and wellness. That's if they want to build a business, we can also be business mentors to them, right? Like, over the last 7 years, I've learned how to grow a successful online business. And just because my sister, who lives in the same town as me, wasn't ready, or some of my friends, maybe they unfriended me on Facebook because they weren't in a space to read about positivity and health and wellness. Although now, because I've evolved so much, I'm like, who wouldn't want to see that, right? Lindsay 7 years ago didn't want to see that. She would have wanted to unfollow or unfriend that person too, because she wasn't in a space to receive that. Not everyone is going to be in that space, but there are people. And with this being a virtual business, it's so cool because you're not stuck with the geography of like how I was with a realtor, right? I only worked in my own city and county. But as a virtual health and wellness coach, I can help people all across Canada, the US, the UK, France. Like, we have clients and coaches all over, because we're not actually limited to that. So now we have people who are in that position where they are ready and they want to build a business, or they want to get healthier, and they're sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. And you get to actually show up, and you get to not only be working on yourself, which is your number one job. How incredible is that? That's our number one job. You get to share about it in a way that adds value to other people's lives, and people will gravitate towards your good energy, and you will help people. And sometimes maybe that helping the people isn't going to happen immediately, but so this is the second thing I want to talk about, is like why our team is such a great team and why it would be beneficial for you to join us. We do things a little bit differently, and I really like that about our team. Not only do we have endless training for you, we can help you. We have new coach mentorships to plug you into, so you can kind of do it self-paced. You can go through the steps. We have the steps we have are proven that if you follow them and you implement them and you actually you're coachable, right? You will see success. Okay, we have that all set up for you. The other piece, though, is obviously like your mindset. You have to believe that you can do these things, and you have to believe that, hey, you're not going to be amazing at it when you first start, just like none of us are amazing at things when we first start them, but that you will learn as you go. But the other thing is, like, our team really is top of the network. We are, we're top 40 in Canada, top 200 in the whole network out of like 250,000 teams, which is pretty impressive. But we also have access to a lot of people and a lot of resources that not all teams do, just because of, where we are positioned. We're part of one of the biggest upline in all of Beachbody, with a lot of incredible resources, which is kind of a nice bonus. But like I said, our team does things differently. We really try to not only lead from the front, but we try to serve, not sell, right? And I think that one of the biggest things I was afraid of, and I have a lot of the people that join us on our team say the same thing: I don't want to be a salesperson. I don't want to be icky. I don't want people to, be grossed out by what I'm doing. I don't want to feel yucky when I have conversations with people. And I'm like, hey, I am with you, and I don't want that either. We will teach you how to do this in a way that feels really good and that you can be proud of and that you will see success with. So our team does really do things differently that way. And I'm all about really making sure that you love your business and you're excited to show up and do it. So I think that was everything that I want. Oh, well, how we earn. So one more thing I just wanted to add. So I'm not going to go into a huge, big, long thing, but there's basically two ways as a coach how you can earn an income. So Once you become a coach, you enroll. You talk to your sponsor coach, you enroll, you sign up with whatever you want to use, and you have your monthly fee. So the only commitment really is your monthly fee, which is about $20 a month. It's incredibly low for a business to actually start up. Like I said, coming from the real estate side of things where things are very expensive and we pay for our advertising and we have to have office space and signs and all these crazy things, you don't actually have that kind of overhead in this business. But that's also why people don't necessarily take this as seriously, I think, as they would say if you bought a brick and mortar business, right? You're like, oh, it's only like $50 to sign up and then $20 a month to keep your business. Well, I'm not going to really work that hard on that because that's not that much money, and it just doesn't seem. Whereas if you like put a second mortgage on your house to open up a business, you would be there working like crazy, right? And I think that's where a lot of the potential gets lost when it comes to this Beachbody business. People just don't treat it like a business, and they don't get paid like a business. Okay, so there's two ways that we can earn. One, we can earn commission off of everything that we sell from our specific, like, we have like a store basically. So you send a link, hey, here's the thing that is in my store. You help somebody with it, you get a commission off of it, 25% commission. The second way we earn is you can actually build a team, right? So you start to get clients under you who love the products too. They want to pay it forward. They want to share it with other people. All of a sudden you end up having that second income, which is more of a passive income. So you're not out there, helping sign up a gazillion people all the time, but now all of a sudden it's not just you actually working on it. You have, a couple of friends that are doing it too. And you guys now, instead of only helping 3 people, maybe you're helping 9 people, right? And now instead of just helping people in the little city or area where you live, you're helping people in like multiple states or multiple provinces because you have friends or family members who are also doing it. And all of a sudden our impact can be so much more. Okay, so really your income is 1000% connected to your impact. So the more impact you have, the more income you make in this business. It is not a get rich quick scheme. I will tell you that right now. And anybody who tells you that the business that you're starting with, it is kind of like something you're going to make so much money, blah, blah, blah. They're lying to you, most likely. This is not that kind of business. This is the kind of business that you build up trust, you build up credibility, you build up clientele, you build up a little bit of a team, and then you start to grow and your impact grows. And like I said, then your income grows. You can earn trips. You can, get prizes and recognition, and there's just so much conferences, so much great stuff that can come from this, but it all comes down to the amount of effort that you're willing to put in, how coachable you are, and really how much you put effort-wise into this business. And that doesn't mean you have to work a bunch of hours, but you'll learn that in our new coach training. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm going to wrap this up because I don't like to talk for too long, because nobody wants to watch a video that's really long. So if you have any more questions after listening to this, I hope that you are confident in asking them to me or the person who invited you to this group, and we cannot wait to help you build your own business that you're so proud of, and work with you for the last part of this year, get you all set up for the new year. I can't wait. Okay, take care.